What's good, trappers? It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper, and y'all know my goal is to help the culture build wealth one share at a time. Now today, man, we're gonna just get into industries I think we should be looking at going into 2021, which is this year. But also we'll talk about some key things that happened today. So get your trapper attire, you know it's required. And let's get ready to trap. I want you to trap with me, right? Today was a kind of awkward day. Usually the first day of trading always opened up in a good way, right? But today, the first official day of trading of 2021, the market kind of sent us for a loop, right? That's right. It was the worst day, opening day since 2016, right? So normally the market just opened up booming. Now, we closed on the last day of trading. We closed with all three indices, which is the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500. We closed with all three indices at all-time highs. So it kind of gave us a good idea, a good feel moving forward. We felt like the stimulus package had been approved and moved forward. People getting their stimulus checks. The vaccine gave us some improvement. But there's a few other things lingering around, and we're going to talk about those things. The first thing we need to talk about is Georgia, right? So if Georgia wins this House, right, and which I think Wall Street think is going to happen, which is one of the reasons why we saw the sell-off today. And know that sell-offs are when companies take profits, right? Pullbacks are when people get scared. Sell-offs are when companies decide to just take profit, right? So we always got to understand the two situations that's taking place. So we saw a massive sell-off today, nice sell-off today, which probably could continue into tomorrow. We don't know. We never try to predict the future, right? But today with the sell-off, we think that if Georgia wins, that's clearly a sign that taxes will increase, right? And with an increase in taxes, the wealthy going to have to feel that pain, right? And so one of the things the wealthy try to do to avoid tax increases is, move assets around, put things in place, which is why one of the first things I want to talk about is I think that if Georgia dominates the Senate, if Georgia wins, which means the Democrats will dominate the Senate, I think one of the places that we should be looking at is asset management, right? Because the Goldman Sachs, the Morgan Stanleys are great banks, right? They're investment banks. But Goldman Sachs has this beautiful thing called asset management, right? So right now with Goldman Sachs, asset management makes up about 25% of its revenue. Global markets make up about 40% of its revenue, right? And investment make up about 20% of its revenue. But they are one of the only banks that has that asset management in play. So also I think that is going to be key. And I think that industry alone is going to see a huge upside going into this with Democrats in office, with a Democratic president, the Democratic House. You'll see Republicans and you'll see the wealthy moving assets around a lot. And so I think Goldman Sachs, this is one of my favorite bank stocks of all time. I'm kind of mad at myself. I didn't get it in at 119, nor did I get in it at 150. Currently, the stock is around $264. It actually has a target price of about $319. I'm not telling you to invest. I'm not your fiduciary. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a person to come on here and tell people invest in this, invest in that. My goal is to just give us guidance because I don't want to put out the allurement of I'm telling you, hey, this is going to blow. I know a lot of people do that, and I don't have nothing against that. But me personally, my goal is to educate us on how to thoroughly pick a stock and how to thoroughly look at investments that are going to give us great returns, right? And so we know with Joe Biden being in office, go check out one of my older videos where I talked about how to put a plan together with Joe Biden being in office, because we know some of the things they look forward to, some of the things they plan on investing in, some of the strategies that him and his team plan on putting in place. So also I think we should look at that. So I think investment banking, wealth management is a great place to look at for us. I think it's somewhere where we can see a lot of upside, especially going into this year. But also we need to understand that today the Dow shedded about 382 points, 700 points at its lowest point. Now here's the thing about the Dow, right? When we look at the Dow, those are the blue chip stocks or value-based businesses in this economy, right? Those are your Caterpillars, your John Deere, you know what I'm saying? So we just Gotta understand like what the Dow plays, and also we gotta understand. I think I'm gonna do a video on that, like on how important each three indices or indexes are and what they represent. Right, so the Dow is going to represent some of your value-based business, your value stocks. So anytime they're talking about value, a lot of times they're talking about things in the Dow. A lot of times we're talking about tech. We're talking about the Nasdaq, right? And the S&P is just a compilation of everything. But also you have the Russell 2000, which represents a lot of growth in the economy as well. But speaking of that, man, FANG stocks, the Nasdaq took a hit at 1.4%. Right, and so all FANG stocks took a beating today. If you don't know what FANG is, it represents Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Right, FANG. So when you hear FANG on the TV, FANG, when you hear them talking about that, that's what that represents: Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. The FANG stocks actually took a hit today. Also, something that really happened today. 3 things happened today. Right, another thing, which is why I think we had some of this sell-off today. England goes into its 3rd lockdown. Man. But also, New York and California have reported first cases of the new strand of the coronavirus. Let's just take a minute to woosah on this. Right, so my thing about that is just simple. Like, if they're pushing these vaccines like that, how can you honestly push a vaccine when there's a new strand coming out? The vaccine only works on the old strand. Once the new strand comes out and the virus mutates itself and gets stronger, then that vaccine is no longer good. What do I know? I'm just a trapper of the year. You know what I'm saying? So those are 3 things that happened today. Again, England imposes 3rd lockdown. New York and Cali, the big 2. All they missing is Florida and Texas. So New York and Cali represented their first strand of the coronavirus, and that's another reason to sell off, right? So coronavirus, which could present potential lockdowns again, because we know Joe Biden said he about that drama. He want all the smoke, right? And with the threat of Georgia being in office, I think those are 3 big things. But also, I don't think the Senate being blue is bad, because if the Senate becomes blue, then that's a greater chance of getting a bigger stimulus check, right, for $2,000. Because also what's happening is job losses. When the job numbers came in, it came in less than what expected. They thought it was going to be around 737,000 people reporting, and it kind of wound up being 836,000 people reporting for unemployment. So it's definitely something we want to look at and keep our eye on. Remember, housing and jobs are focal for us to look at. Remember, I did a Trappin Tuesdays on what's called a GPI. Not the GDP, the gross domestic product, but the GPI. So I think that's something we should all go look at. Go check that out. One of my last 2 Trappin Tuesdays. It was definitely a great breakdown we did up in there. Definitely something for us to look at and look forward to. Right? So another section I think that is extremely important for us to look at will be cybersecurity. Right? If we see, man, we notice a cybersecurity got cybersecurity. FireEye had got breached not too long ago, but also Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all of these companies got hacked recently, right? Closing out the year. So I do, and I've said it, I think cybersecurity is one of the most important sectors we could be looking at. It can be so pivotal. That's because we know as we go digital, as the world gets into digitization, which is another thing we could be looking at. But those are important things for us to look at, because it's not about us picking stocks that we feel is the next big thing, right? We don't have to look for the next big thing. And I think that's one of the things that kind of like blows people off. That's one of the things that kind of loses new investors, trying to pick stocks and look for the next big thing. We don't have to look for the next big thing. All we really have to do is just see what's moving on, what's ahead of us, right? And as we see what's ahead of us, we can kind of get into that instead of saying, I'm looking for the next Amazon or I'm looking for the next Apple. We just see what products and services will be needed most moving forward. And one of the most needed businesses moving forward is cybersecurity. Now, for me, we all know that I love CrowdStrike. I talked about it when I did Earn Your Leisure podcast that time. I talked about it several times in my Trappers Anonymous group. We talked about it was $56. I think it's currently $100 and something, right? It's doing crazy numbers for us. So a few things I like about CrowdStrike, and I think we'll just point those things out, right? CrowdStrike does a good job at great marketing, as having the most market share when it comes to cybersecurity. One, they have a great tech business, right? Because while we saw another company get exposed, right, which killed. How can you be a cybersecurity company and get cybersecurity? Or get hacked, right? So that was hard for them. But also they have great product and services, right? And I think they're building a moat around that. And it's one of those switching modes where once you get with this business, like you kind of don't want to leave them because they're doing such a great job at retaining customers. So that's one of the things we look at when we look at a business like that. What is the customer retention rate, right? Like, and so for that business, it's very high and very well. And so I think that is a great business for us to just pay attention to moving forward. I think it's real good. And lastly, I think that one of the business that we should definitely look forward to is Qualcomm. I think that moving forward, because everybody in the world gonna go crazy looking at 5G, thinking that 5G is just explosive. Actually, I don't think like the 5G stocks like AT&T, Verizon, I don't think the phone companies are going to see a huge, massive play when it comes to 5G. I think it's the supporters. Now, the reason why I love Qualcomm is because they are the only chipset maker for the 5G. They are the only, right? And I said it again, they are the only smartphone digital chipset maker. So they are poised to win. Also, what I like about them is they do have a lot of debt, more debt than I normally would love. But the thing about it is by them being that, and then they won the suit against Apple, and they also didn't get regulated as a monopoly, so that's good, right? Because they are the only chipset maker, so they mean that business is going to thrive for them. I think 5G is on the brink right now, but I'm not looking to look at like AT&T. I already own that, the Verizon and all that. I'm not worried about all that, right? So I think Qualcomm will sit well with that. One of the things I would like to see them do is, as they get this massive play rolling into 5G, one of the things I would love to see them do is pay down a lot of that debt. They are doing well at paying down the debt. So I just want to keep seeing the CEO do that. I want to keep seeing the CEO pay down the debt. It is the #1 company. It has the greatest market share when it comes to that. So I would love to see them do that. So the 3 industries that I actually like right now: wealth management, cybersecurity, 5G. I talked about the companies that I like, but also just moving forward, paying attention to what's going on. Be mindful of these vaccines. I want y'all to be safe, be good. Man, listen, it's your boy, the Wallstreet Trapper. And y'all know my goal is to help the culture build well one share at a time. And the goal now is just to really put on and help us understand what it is and what we need to do to build wealth correctly. Again, I'm not going to come on here just saying, invest in this stock, invest in this stock. What I will do is lay out blueprints, lay out maps, put things in place for us to be able to analyze and look at these stocks great from the beginning. And learn how to be patient. I think one of the things that hinders a lot of people, especially when it comes to investing, is the patience aspect. Understanding that great stocks are not always a great investment if we get them at the wrong price. I'll say that again. A great stock is not a great investment if you get it at the wrong price. You don't want to overpay for these businesses, right? And that's one of the things I'm not fond of. So listen, man, I appreciate you all for tapping in. Just a little nice video to get you all going, give you all some dope game about just investing, right? So do me a favor, man, like this video, subscribe it, and tell somebody what we got going on over here. It's your boy, the Wallstreet Trapper, and I'm out.